Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. And speaking of bright stars, if you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you would already know that the title of tonight's show is Endings. But that's because on Saturday, we are having a new moon, a very powerful new moon at 3 degrees of Cancer. And Cancer is the traditional ruler of the 4th house of home, last half of life, and endings. And so generally, Cancers can bring about a very good ending when they finally get around to it. So there can be some sort of fortunate ending coming up for a lot of people. But there could also be a really challenging one as well. And that is because Cancer rules the home, it rules women, it's a water sign, and all water signs rule our emotions. And Cancer rules real estate, and it rules anything that comes out of the earth. So it rules agriculture, and it rules manual labor. And that's why it rules unions and Congress. It's the sun sign of America and of Canada. And Cancer rules endings, but they are endings that can be sort of healing endings as well. And it does rule the last half of life, so oddly enough, a lot of people who are strong in the sign of Cancer do not often have happy childhoods. It has to be a little later on life when they really sort of get up on their own, and then they have a wonderful ending in their life as well. So they get stronger and stronger, particularly in the last half of their life. Cancer, since it does rule agriculture, it rules the grocery business, and it rules restaurants. And they're the kind of mom and pop restaurants that you can bring the whole family to, which is great. The 4 planets in Cancer create a stellium under this new moon, and that's what makes the new moon so powerful. The sun and the moon are at 3 degrees of Cancer, and they are very close to the critical 1st degree of Cancer, which means that when you're that close to a critical degree, the power of the planets are heightened. And the moon rules Cancer, so it's at home in the sign, it rules. And so the sun and the moon at 3 degrees are conjuncting Mercury, which is at 7 degrees of Cancer, and Mercury is conjuncting Mars at 13 degrees of Cancer. 13 is another critical degree, and in fact, it is the exact degree of the United States sun sign, because every 4th of July, the sun is at 13 degrees of Cancer. But under this new moon, it's Mars that's at 13 degrees of Cancer. And Mars is a planet that rules war and danger, but it also rules hate and greed and passion and jealousy and envy. I mean, these are not good things. And so we're going to have to be really careful, because this can be an exceedingly dangerous time. And the reason why is that there is a very harsh grand cross of 7 planets. In other words, 70% of all the planets in the heavens are caught up in a very harsh grand cross among cardinal signs. The 4 cardinal signs are Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. And believe me, they're not seeing eye to eye right now. And so even if there can be some good endings, there can really be some bad ones or some challenging ones too, because the 4 planets in Cancer, particularly Mars, are squaring Uranus in Aries, and Mars and Uranus are 2 malefic planets that can bring about very sudden, surprising change. And it could be dangerous change, because Mars rules danger and Uranus rules sudden change or rebellion. At the same time, Pluto is opposing all 4 planets in Cancer, and Mars and Pluto are the rulers of Scorpio. And since they are in harsh opposition, it can indicate, since Scorpio is a fixed financial sign ruling credit, debt, taxes, grants, inheritance, insurance proceeds, and loans, it simply means there can be a scarcity of funds. So don't count any money unless it really gets into your hands, and this would not be a good time to incur debt. You should really be trying to pay down debt instead. And then Jupiter in Libra is squaring all the planets in Cancer, and that could put pressure on a partnership or even create the cancellation of a contract. So there's that to watch out for. And so we see that this Grand Cross can instigate a lot of challenges. What should you do? Well, why don't you develop that slogan, where there's a will, there's a way? And that's because there are some good aspects with these 4 planets in Cancer under the new moon on Saturday. And it's that all 4 planets in Cancer are trining Neptune in Pisces. And Neptune is retrograde. Pisces rules hidden things, but with so much support from the 4 planets in Cancer, it simply means that there could be some truth that comes out now about the exposure of an impostor or a cover-up that can be revealed, or the truth can put to rest or end some sort of scam or some sort of group of hidden enemies that could have been causing a lot of trouble behind the scenes. So if the truth comes out and that ends some things that had been pretty bad for people, that could turn out actually to be a good ending. But there can be bad or challenging endings as well, and that is because of the way the Grand Cross is set up. And so actually, what will the outcome be of so many people in loud voices all arguing with each other and expressing their own opinions and not being willing to listen to anyone else's opinion? The outcome will be that the strength of the 4 planets in Cancer will prevail. I mean, there are 3 other planets caught up in this Grand Cross, but they're all coming up against those 4 planets, the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, and Mars in Cancer, which does rule endings, but it also rules our families and our homes and our country. And those needs will prevail. And so what I think the outcome of everything will be right now is that sooner or later, I think that something that seems impossible will occur anyway, despite any scarcity of funds. And it may be based on the elements of justice and survival, because the 4 planets in Cancer and that 5th planet, Neptune in Pisces, are all trining Scorpio, which does rule justice and survival. So if something impossible seems to be on your horizon, you know, remember that slogan, where there's a will, there's a way. Just go ahead and keep working on it, because I think something impossible will eventually succeed, no matter what it costs and no matter how long it takes. I think it will succeed because of our American can-do spirit. And so that will be wonderful. I don't know when it will succeed, but if there's something that's looking pretty impossible in your life, don't give up. But be sure you're working with the truth. Remember, a good ending can come about because the truth can come out. And the reason that's so important is because the water signs do rule healing. And the only way you can heal from something is to know the truth about it and to face it. And that's what we are going to have a chance to do. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, for you, I think what it means is that you are definitely going to go through some kind of unpleasant surprise. It may not be on the day of the new moon, which is Saturday, but it is coming up. It could even be delayed as much as a month from now, because by the middle of July, Mars will exactly square Uranus in your sun sign. And that is going to create an unpleasant surprise, not just for you, Aries, but for a lot of other people as well. And it might be in the form of some sort of cyber attack, because Uranus is in your sign and it does rule computers, but it also rules electrical grids. It rules anything that goes through the air, so it rules aviation and space as well. And rebellion and sudden unexpected change. So I do think that you're going to go through that. What could it be? It could be something like a problem in the home, or with a family member, or with a real estate issue, or it could be a partnership that suddenly frays in or is threatened in one way or another, or it could be changes in government policies or changes in management that can be quite challenging to you. And so I think you need to prepare for some sort of unpleasant surprise, and since you won't really know what it is until it happens, you should at least think about your own safety and about keeping things really simple. And believe me, Aries, This is not a time to get in an argument with anybody, because the backlash could really surprise you with how strong and vehement it is. So try to be as charming as you can, if possible. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, Venus is still in your sign. It's at 19 degrees right now, which reduces to 10 and then reduces to 1, the number of new beginnings. Why could that be relevant? Well, first of all, that Venus isn't being challenged by any planets. There aren't any planets in fixed signs coming up against you. So once again, you can be at your very charming and diplomatic best. But right behind your sun sign is the sign of Aries, where Uranus is, and that Uranus is being activated harshly under this new moon in Cancer with the 4 planets there. And so there could be some unpleasant surprise behind the scenes in your life somewhere, Taurus. But you know, I think that it may benefit you in one way or another. First of all, I don't think it's actually happening to you, but it could sure happen around you and in, as I said, the background of your life. So it could happen to somebody else pretty close to you, Taurus. And if there is some sudden change in their life, it may open up some sort of possibility for you that, if there is an ending, it could be sort of a good ending, not to you, but perhaps to somebody else, but it would benefit you. And that is because the 4 planets in Cancer sextile your sun where you have Venus. And so you may be off and starting something else, and it can be because something else has ended, but it was time for that. And you may be able to step into something new that can be quite beneficial for you, Taurus. So look around for opportunities. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, surprise, Gemini, there aren't any planets in your sign, but there have been a lot for a while, and they have moved on. So right ahead of your sun sign are the 4 planets in Cancer. In fact, there are only 3 planets aspecting your sun sign. One of them is Jupiter in Libra, which is direct and trining your sun, but it's the only planet in an air sign right now. So people in partnership or matters connected with the law can work out well for you. But the predominance is in this stellium of planets in Cancer right ahead of your sign, one of which is your ruler, Mercury. And they are all being fortified by Neptune in Pisces. So while I don't think that you are going to be involved too much in a cover-up, you can be discussing some matter or helping to throw light on people who may be coming to a good end right now because a scam can be revealed or an impostor can be exposed or a group of hidden enemies can be revealed in some way. And that is because Neptune in Pisces, which is squaring your sun, is also being trined by all the planets in Cancer. And because Neptune is retrograde, the truth will come out. But it'll really come out because of so many planets in Cancer supporting that sign right now. And since your ruler is one of those planets that's going to help with that, I think that's how you can be involved. Not directly involved, but you can be involved as far as communications go. So keep your eyes and ears open right now, Gemini. You are not being threatened as much as you were before. But still, Saturn in Sagittarius is opposing your sun, which still means that people who want to maintain their status from the past and are refusing to admit change is possible, they can still be bothering you, but not as much as before, and they will be gone by the end of the year. So if there is a good ending, I think it's going to be because the truth comes out about something, the real truth. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, the new moon on Saturday is in your sign, and you are going to feel it, Cancer. And the reason why is that the 4 planets in your sign, the sun, your ruler, the new moon, Mercury, and Mars, are so strong right now because 3 of those 4 planets are involved with critical degrees, which means their power is even stronger than what it would normally be. And they are trining Neptune in Pisces, so they are fortified. So there can be a good ending because some truth can come out somewhere, Cancer. That would be great, and you may be instrumental in helping that along. But at the same time, there could be an unpleasant or challenging ending that you could be feeling. And the reason why is that the 4 planets in your sign are being squared by Uranus in Aries, which can indicate some volatile, upsetting, or unpleasant event or occurrence. And Jupiter in Libra is squaring the 4 planets in your sign, putting a lot of strain on a partnership or a legal matter. And also, Pluto is opposing the 4 planets in your sign. It's being backed up by Venus in Taurus, so a management change or some sort of corporate policy or government policy that changes will directly affect you, and it may affect you because there is a scarcity of funds. It may also affect you just because if interest rates go up, the cost of things goes up and debts go up, and that could affect you as well. Since your sign does rule endings, no matter what happens, for good or ill, Cancer, your interests will prevail. And nobody's really going to knock you over, but there can be some very surprising things happening in your life. And one of them could involve an ending that you have not been willing to admit to, but that you're really ready for. And so you might be thinking, you might not be too surprised if an ending comes to you, but it would open the way for you to make a dream come true instead, and that's why I think your interests will prevail. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is a time when I think that you have to be as quiet as possible. Yes, Uranus in Aries is still trining your sun, but it is under severe duress right now, so it's not much help to you. And yes, Saturn in Sagittarius is still trining your sun, but it is retrograde, and it is being squared by that Neptune in Pisces, which is now activated by the tremendous support it's getting from the planets in Cancer. So what I mean by you trying to think about being quiet right now is that I would not step into the spotlight if I were you, Leo, and that is because right behind your sun sign are all 4 of those planets, and that includes the new moon and the sun. So in the background of your life, there's a lot of light. Everybody can see what you've been doing, Leo, and Mars is there. And so, there could be trouble brewing in the background of your life. One area of trouble could come from jealousy. Mars rules jealousy. And I think there is some jealousy surrounding you, or it could be trouble in the home or with family members or somewhere in your vicinity. And since Mars generally spells trouble, it's not too good to have it right behind your sun sign with a whole lot of light. That's why I'm saying if there's any trouble that you've been in at all, or if there's any trouble brewing, a lot of people can see it right now, Leo. And that's why if I were you, I'd be as quiet as possible right now. And don't get in an argument with anybody. You really wouldn't win. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a time when I think that you can be sort of just standing still and quietly benefiting, perhaps from something that has to do with the home or the family or your country. And the reason why is that the 4 planets in Cancer actually sextile your sun. That's a lot of power. And Jupiter in Libra is right ahead of your sun sign, also sextiling your sun. Venus in Taurus is trining it, and so is Pluto in Capricorn. That's what I mean. The activity or the impetus is among these 4 planets in Cancer. And since they favorably aspect your sun, I would say that this is probably a time when you can be pretty busy at home, or you can be redecorating or remodeling, or you can be working on something with a family member, or there may even be a move happening. I don't know if it's happening to you, but it could be happening to somebody else, and you could be helping them with that. And at the same time, whatever's happening, you can afford it, Virgo, because there can be some good money coming your way, and also your long-term security is looking pretty good. So it's going to look even better next year. So I don't think you have anything to worry about right now. If there are arguments of squabbling people around, all saying their own opinions, I would stay out of them and let these people solve their own problems, because I don't think they really want to listen to anybody else. So save your breath, Virgo. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a time when you are pretty much on your own. And that is because, yes, you have Jupiter in your sign, but it's the only planet in an air sign. There is no fortification from the other air signs. And that Jupiter is under severe duress. Remember, 70% of all the planets, 7 of them, are in a harsh grand cross among cardinal signs, and that involves you because yours is a cardinal sign. And so that new moon, Sun, Mercury, and Mars in Cancer on Saturday are all going to be squaring your sun sign. So there can be a challenge, even an unpleasant ending that may have something to do with a home or a real estate matter or a partnership or a family matter. And also Pluto in Capricorn is squaring your sun sign, so there can be government policy changes or management changes or budget cuts at work that might affect you, Libra. And then Uranus in Aries, which has been harshly activated by the planets in Cancer along with your sign, is opposing your sun sign. So there is the possibility, just like Aries and Cancer, that you could be facing an unpleasant surprise, Libra. And if you get into an argument with anybody, it is not your nature to argue, but it is your nature to try and bring about peace. And what I'm saying is that it's not possible right now. So if you're trying to achieve some sort of settlement or peacemaking or compromise, no one is listening right now, Libra. And if I were you, I would try to do something that could make yourself happy, because I don't think anyone else is going to try too hard to make you happy right now, and you can't please everyone anyway. So I would withdraw and sit this one out and do something where you can sort of baby yourself and bring a smile to your face right now, because there could be some unpleasantness on your horizon, and it's not that you're causing it, but you have to be real careful to stay out of trouble right now, Libra. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, the rulers of your sign, Mars and Pluto, are sort of going at each other. They're opposing each other, and Venus and Venus, they are opposing each other, which can indicate a scarcity of funding of some sort. In other words, people who are depending on grants, inheritance, insurance proceeds, an increase in debt, or extension of credit, or taxes, or whatever. All those people better not count any money till it's in their hands, because these two rulers of yours are at odds with each other. But your sign itself only has one harsh aspect to it, that is Venus in Taurus, which is opposing your sun sign, and that means the big money is really not quite coming your way at the moment. But there can be a lot of healing and emotional support right now for you, Scorpio, because the 4 planets in Cancer all trine your sun, and Neptune in Pisces also trines your sun. So if there is some good ending that comes from the truth being revealed about an impostor or a cover-up or some sort of scam or a group of hidden enemies, that may bring about justice and survival, and you would probably be in agreement with that, Scorpio. So this isn't a time when you need to really do anything, and I wouldn't if I were you, Scorpio. The kind understanding and emotional support of real friends will come to you. And also you can be extending that to your family members as well, which is good. This is a time of healing for you. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, you know, Sagittarius, I don't know if this is going to make you happy or not, but I think you're going to be left out of a few things right now. I mean, your sign has Saturn in it, but it's retrograde. And Uranus in Aries is trining it, which is a good aspect, but that Uranus is in so much trouble right now, it can't help you at all. And that's why I think you're going to be left out of some turmoil that could erupt at any time. And so if nothing much happens to you this week, Sagittarius, you should count yourself lucky. And that might be the case unless you're involved in any kind of a cover-up, because Neptune in Pisces is the only planet that is squaring or harshly opposing your sun right now, and it is retrograde, so it will be revealing truth that had been covered up or hidden because it has so much support right now. So if you're involved in a cover-up, well, okay, you could have an unpleasant ending, but otherwise I think you're going to be left alone, and you might end up having a very quiet week as you are left out of something right now, Sagittarius. You should thank your lucky stars for that. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, yours is a cardinal sign, and I think you're going to be facing some unpleasant surprise. And that is because the 4 planets in Cancer all oppose Pluto in your sign, so there could be a scarcity of funds. And that may come about because of a rise in costs. And that rise in costs may be associated with a family matter, or with a home, or a real estate matter, or just the high cost of living that goes up. And so if the costs go up and your wages don't, that could give a scarcity of funds. Your long-term security is not being threatened. Venus in Taurus is trining Pluto in your sign, which is good. But there's volatility around. Uranus in Aries is squaring your sun, so is Jupiter in Libra, putting pressure on partnerships and legal matters. And there can be rebellious people that come out of nowhere that can be quite challenging. And the fact that Mars is at a critical degree and opposing that Pluto is an indication that there can be danger from things coming at you too quickly. So don't be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and really guard your safety right now, Capricorn. You will be glad you did, because if you can avoid an unpleasant surprise, that would be the thing to do. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is a time when I think that you'd best not take any chances. And the reason why is not that you're really doing anything risky right now, Aquarius, but your ruler, Uranus, is under severe duress right now, and it is an unstable, volatile planet that rules sudden, surprising change. And so it is being squared by all the 4 planets in Cancer. It's being opposed by Jupiter in Libra, and also squared by Pluto in Capricorn. That's why I don't think you can afford to take a chance at anything, because the aspects to the ruler of your sign are so harsh that an unpleasant ending could happen to you, Aquarius. And so if it doesn't happen now, it really could happen under the next 2 new moons, both of which are in Leo and oppose your sun. So the only planet in an air sign is Jupiter in Libra, and yes, it is trining your sun, which means you can find nice partnerships around, which is nice. You can develop good friendships right now. And so I have some advice for you, which I hope you take, Aquarius, even though yours is a fixed sign. And it is that I suggest that you take the road less traveled. In other words, instead of, since yours is a fixed sign, instead of keeping the intensity of your devotion at a high rate right now, I suggest you lower it and take the road less traveled so that you can ease up on yourself and on your life. Because it might be a little too late if you don't scale back right now, Aquarius, and enjoy some new friends. That's a pleasure in itself, you know. Consider that. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a time when you pretty much come into your own. How could you be doing that? Well, with the 4 planets in Cancer under the new moon on Saturday, there can be, and they're all trining your sun sign where you have Neptune, there can be a moment of truth in coming out in your life right now, Pisces. In other words, their strong planets are supporting you. If ever there was a time with Neptune retrograde in your chart to, in your sign, to go ahead and confess the truth about something, or to let family members know whatever your worries and doubts are, you would get a very sympathetic response right now. And if there is any change going on in your family life, or in a real estate matter, or having something to do with your home, there can be a lot of strong support and backing for that right now. And so this is an optimum time for you to let people know what your hidden feelings are, because they will be there to help you. And that could bring about some sort of good ending in your life. And just remember, Pisces, that something impossible is going to, I think, happen. And it doesn't matter how long it takes, and it doesn't matter how much money it costs. I think it can happen. So if there's a dream that you've got, let people know about it, because maybe together we can all work together and help each other out, and particularly help you out with making your dreams come true. So I wish you the best of luck. All right, thanks for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show anytime you want by subscribing to it on our website, starborninstitute.org.